So now we have the annotation aspect of our family created. We are going to nest or load this into our next family. So we can go up to the top here. We make sure we've done a save, and we now say new family. And then this time we're going to select a generic model family. So just a generic model family, which will give us a little different environment to work with it. First of all, it'll let us create reference planes and add parameters to control those reference planes, and those reference planes will give us the shape handles that we're going to need. So there is going to be the base point of our family, and we can go here first and close extra windows, and I'm going to first switch back to my annotation family and then load this into my new project I just created. So loading the annotation family into the model family, placing it right at the base point or origin of those two reference planes. You'll notice that in the project browser there's the family there, room label annotation. I can bring one of those in anytime I want. Okay, and notice also they are showing 00 in the project, which is the actual default width, room width and height. So now I'm just adding in some reference planes. Use your shift key here if you want to constrain them to keep them straight like an ortho. And after I do that, I'm going to add some dimensions in. This is going to be my room width and then my room height. I'm going to add those in, and then I'm going to turn those dimensions into parameters. So we can either use our types dialog box, or we can just select it and then click on the label drop down and change that to say add parameter, and then we add it in. We'll call this the same as we did in our previous family, room width. It's going to be grouped under dimensions. It's going to be an instance parameter, and length, because it's a dimension, defaults to length. Now we grab the vertical dimension and we say label, drop down, add a parameter, and then again room height, we will group it under dimensions and it will be instance, and hit OK. And we're not done with those parameters yet, because we're going to tie that annotative family to it by picking on the instance parameters of the actual families. And on the far right there's a little hidden kind of parameter button. So look, room width, the room width property I'm going to tie to the local parameter room width, and then it gets grayed out. Room height over to the parameter button to the local parameter I just created called room height. Hit OK and OK. So now that label is going to show those two parameters, room width and room height. And now I can go into my types dialog box and change that to be 6 feet by 6 feet, and it'll change the parameters as well as the label, because they're all kind of talking to each other quite nicely. So now we have the reference planes, and I'm just going to nudge them into place here, just to kind of so that the label in the middle is kind of centered when I bring it in. And these reference planes, now that they have instance parameters, are going to have special handles and grips that I'll be able to align with and or use. So I'm going to add in a couple more dimensions here to control the center or the origin, or the two internal reference planes. So I'll create some dimensions, and I'll turn both of these dimensions into parameters, and by doing so it will allow me to have a handle, a shape handle, or a grip within the project to control the position of that label. That's the real trick, is to be able to move the label independently within the project and still retain my room width and height. So I will grab this dimension, turn it into a parameter, and I'm going to call it label position, and then W for width. I'm going to actually change that to a W, and then Control C, copy that to the clipboard. So, and then put it under dimensions. So a new parameter called label position W, and then I'm going to click on the vertical one and make a parameter there. Control V to paste that other one in and call it H for height. Again, it's a dimension, group it under dimensions, instance, and hit OK. So by adding in those two instance parameters is going to give me shape handles or grips to control. Now all I have to do is use my align tool. Most people don't know that you can align this annotative family to that reference plane and then lock it. So pick on there and lock. Pick the reference plane, hover over the annotative family, click, and then lock it. So I did the horizontal and then the vertical. And if you pick on that label, you will see the two locks that will show you that it's locked to those two reference planes. Now I'm going to save this as a family, and I'm going to save it on my desktop with my other file, and I'll click on there, and this one will be called room label model instead of annotation. So now I've got my model family ready to go, and I can load this into a project and see how it works.